Greetings! I hope you've been having a good time in the new season. I've certainly had my highlights and am once again enjoying Nami. This video is going to be slightly different within the Bubbles series because Hwei doesn't actually have anything we can exploit against him. Riot generally seems to not want to include lengthy cast times in champion kits because it probably makes them feel clunky. This video could just say that none of his abilities have lengthy cast times and end it here. But given he's a new champion with a lot of abilities, I thought we could go over how to combo bubble when you have Hwei on your team. First of all, none of his Q or W spells apply CC strong enough to land bubble with. The closest we can get is the slow from QE, and could in theory combo by predicting enemy movements to have an easier time landing bubble than otherwise, but it is not reliable. We need to look for his E and R. EQ and EW are very easy to land bubble with, and should only get easier because Riot seems to want to buff the duration of his fear in patch 14.2. At the moment they are basically guaranteed unless the enemy has tenacity. EQ is a 1 second fear, so you can just throw bubbles slightly behind them once you see it connect, and EW is a slightly longer route, so once you see it land, bubble directly on top of them. Be aware that the route can be blocked by minions, but otherwise it's a very good combo. In theory, EE should be reliable, but I kept missing it an embarrassing amount when we were recording footage, so I'm unsure if I was just tired or if it's genuinely unreliable. I'm inclined to believe it's the former, but these videos are meant to be honest and practical advice, so I'm just putting this disclaimer here. EE has the jaws themselves and a sort of circular area where the two intersect and targets are dragged towards the centre area. Imagine a line from Hwei through the jaws, targets get dragged to it. This sort of preserves how far from Hwei they are. So if you have one target near to Hwei and one on the far side of the jaws, they'll still be a different distance from Hwei. It seems difficult to tell immediately where exactly they'll end up when you see them in the jaws, and I think this is what makes it somewhat unreliable. It might be possible with practice since you know they'll end up in the centre, and it'll be a question of getting used to where precisely they end up, so I can see it being a semi-reliable option, but not as easy or consistent as EQ or EW. Finally, his ult applies a slow that ramps up over the duration to a considerable amount. If you watch closely, then you can see that the way it works is it applies a stacking slow every 0.25 seconds to everyone within the AoE, and each stack slows by 10%. If we click on them and see they have 4 stacks of the debuff, and they are slowed by 40%, we want to throw bubble directly on our target once they have 6 stacks or more, but not too many since once the ult ends, the slow quickly ends too, and bubble needs 1 second to land. Don't rush this or you'll fail this an embarrassing number of times, but again, don't wait too long. Bubble when you see a target has between 6 and 8 stacks, and you should reliably find success unless they use a dash, or they have slow resist since that kind of ruins the reliability of this combo. So that is Hwei. I hope this proves useful, and as a quick bonus, it looks as if the passive on Haunting Guise applies with just E on a champion. We don't need Aerie to apply it, and in theory this should apply to Leandries and Riftmaker too. Not necessarily practical knowledge, but it is something. Oh, and remember, if you're playing against Hwei, you can simply choose to not allow his jaws to move you. If he doesn't have permission, then he cannot legally move you.